my coffee like a true gentleman.
Like a true gentleman?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we're live over here, so
Ah,
true
I see.
gentleman it up.
Well, let's true
Okay.
gentleman it up indeed. Alright.
Is it sad that, like, already I think the entire storyline video is more interesting than whatever this man is doing?
God, probably. But it's fine. This man thinks he has a point to say. You want to hear him out on it.
Alright, let's hear what he has to say.
Again, welcome back. This is our third attempt at trying to stream this live because we're real
Yes.
bad and didn't plan ahead.
No,
But
planning ahead is not Zach's forte.
that is me. That is my name. I am Zach. And my good pal Joey is here as well.
Emphasis on
we
good.
are gonna destroy this man and his entire soul as he tries to
Yes.
tell us why Iron Man is a true villain.
Yes. Let's hear him out.
All right.
Hello, good and moral people, and welcome back to another episode of Generation Films. My name is American Ben. Friends,
You look like
Romans, Earthlings,
Joey, honestly.
lend me your ears.
Oh my
I
god.
come bearing the truth about Tony Stark. Not to
He has a better hairline. It's fine.
No, he does not. He has the same hairline as me. Bro, his forehead is bigger than mine. What? Why is he
At least
putting
he has
his
hair
face-
on top of his head.
You know what? I cut my hair on the top of my head, so
Not to
it
praise him.
doesn't look this
Now,
bad.
I suspect many of you out there see Mr. Stark as a hero, a man
Because
of
he
riches
is.
who sacrifices
He is,
his
in
comfort
fact,
for the
he
sake of
sacrifices
humanity.
his entire life
good-
for the sake of humanity. Yes, that is how this works.
That's generally what superheroes do.
He is quite the badass. Like, I don't understand how you can even make an argument that he is any sort of villain, because he is just so good and wholesome pretty much the entire series.
They don't even make
Like,
Civil
even
War-
in the first movie when he's like, ah yes, I want to sell weapons. I went back and watched it yesterday. And, like, literally the instant he is shown that his weapons are in the hands of people that he doesn't support, he's like, nah, we can't do this. We're gonna pull all weapons forever.
I mean, there's
Like, he builds the Iron Man suit to help protect people. It's fine.
the Civil War movie doesn't even have what the Civil War in the comic books is like, and that's like the closest you could get to making an argument that he's not a good guy.
Yeah. But let's
So-
hear him out. Maybe he has actual arguments.
We'll see.
Of goodness.
Doubtful.
But today we are going
Turn it
to
down a little.
question
He's
that.
so loud.
We're going to
He is.
re-examine Tony's history as Iron Man with a more critical, intellectual eye than it's
Intellectual.
previously been given. And by the end of this video, I hope to have opened your eyes to just the possibility that Tony Stark isn't some super cool, genius, benevolent world savior as he's made out to be.
He's a pretty
No,
cool genius, man.
but a selfish, self-obsessed sociopath who brings more harm upon the earth than he prevents.
Okay, is he describing Iron Man or Robert Downey Jr.? Because
Neither. They're both good.
pre-Iron Man, that would describe Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, like pre-Iron Man, that would describe Iron Man. But we have Iron Man, so I don't understand what he's talking about.
Alright, this
Maybe
dude is-
you could make an argument because he made Ultron, and Ultron almost ended the world, but then he stopped it, so it's fine.
But he wasn't the only one who made Ultron.
I guess you're right. Well, no, in this continuity, I think he was the one that did it mostly.
No, it was him and Banner.
That's right. I haven't
Banner
seen
was-
Age of Ultron in so long.
Him and Banner made made the program Ultron, but it was designed. It wasn't designed to do what it was, like anywhere near what it was, and then it kind of just like kept going. It kept going beyond their control, so they didn't even intend for it to do anything anywhere near that. It just ran out of control.
I mean, that is generally how these things work.
Also, how on earth are you making this argument about how it's like he's not portrayed to be like the superhero when that's literally the entire movie? Like everything is written for him to be portrayed.
Like, literally,
as
even
the
the
hero.
first movie, the end of it, he's like, nah, I'm not a superhero. And then he, like, thinks about it for a second, and then he's like, you know what? I want to be a superhero. Like, that's my new life goal.
Like Civil War in the comic books, he goes on a full fight to register themselves, like register superheroes, and he fights against Captain America, and that's the only time you could ever claim he wasn't a superhero in that point. But like the actual Civil War is not that. It's not really that. It's like part of that, but like most of it is just like, do we hunt down the mind control guy or do we let him live?
Yeah.
And then they find the guy who killed Black Panther's dad. So there's not really a huge conflict there, like it was in the comic book.
Like I said, maybe we gotta look at this with an intellectual eye.
And in any case, I ask as always that if any of the information that follows is of use to you, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Now let's first think back to Tony Stark's beginnings. Tony Stark inherited his father's defense contractor company from his father.
Like, even again, just looking at this scene from Civil War where he's like going through like super extensive therapy with a nano robot thing that he built. Like, imagine all the good that this is doing for, like, other people as he, like, opens it up for research and all that. And, like, literally the next scene is him, like, giving out free grants for research projects for college students.
I mean, there's that, but, like, he's becoming the human guinea pig. Like, that's...
Yeah, like he's always been the guinea pig for every single one of his own experiments.
Pretty much.
Like, building the arc reactor, he was his own guinea pig.
Yeah, he's not, like, going out there and kidnapping orphans to build. To build all this stuff. It's straight him.
Like, you can't even argue that he's, like, using Chinese labor or anything, because he does all his own labor, and has robots do it. It's so dumb. I don't understand where he's going with this, but let's see.
Well, he's padded this out to be just over 10 minutes, so I'm guessing his, like, one little argument is going to be...
So far, he's gone, like, 2 minutes and hasn't said anything. He just keeps saying, is he a villain?
Yeah, no, I'm saying his argument's coming in, like, at, like, the last minute and a half.
Probably. Let's see.
Father Howard Stark. His company built and sold devastating weapons to militaries, and for all we know, any entity that was willing to buy. Now, if we think back...
That is false. It is not as... Like, you know, as far as we know, any entity that's willing to buy. Howard Stark was, like, very keen on only selling to the U.S. military, as was Tony. Like, Tony, the first movie, the whole plot is that he didn't know that Stark Industries is selling to anybody except the U.S.
Yeah.
Like, he's so pissed off that's why, again, he makes an Iron Man suit and stops all that.
Yeah, he also, like, Howard Stark in Captain America was, like, one of the guys who latches on to Cap because of, like, his desire to help America.
Exactly.
And own America and fight Hydra. Like, Hydra becomes, like, this villain group that he tries to stop, and then he becomes such a problem that the Soviets send their, like, top weapon to kill him. So, like, how is this, like, selling to anyone who would buy? Because... if that was the case, the Russians wouldn't have killed him. The Russians would have just bought weapons from him.
Exactly.
So, already,
a flaw in his argument. Like, his argument to stand on doesn't have, like, much of a basis.
Yeah, this is...
But it's fine. Let's have him make us angry some more, I guess.
Alright, let's do it.
Back to Captain America times, Howard Stark, generally considered a hero of humanity, was building powerful experimental weapons in order to defeat the Nazis. Defeating the Nazis is a noble endeavor, no doubt, but the ethics of putting such weapons into existence are certainly in question. Howard...
Okay.
So he's one of those people that's like, should we not have built the nukes?
It's not even that. Okay, first off, he's not fighting the Nazis, he's fighting Hydra.
I mean, Hydra and the Nazis were synonymous in Captain America.
No, they were an offshoot.
Sort of, but I mean, technically, like, before they knew all of this information, Hydra and the Nazis were literally the same thing. Like, he built his weapons to fight Nazis, and then they kind of stumbled upon Hydra that was running all the crazy experiments, and Red Skull that was doing all the whack shit.
Right, but then there's also the fact that Hydra had even better weapons, because they were using the Tesseract.
Mm-hmm.
So
So it's not like, we are going to build these weapons and it's going to make the world a worse place. It's like there's already
yeah,
stronger weapons out there that can literally disintegrate people and blow holes in like castles and shit.
yeah. So it's not again. It's not even close to like using the nukes to like on Japan, and then all of a sudden like the Soviets are like, oh, we're gonna create our own nukes too, and then everyone else is getting nukes because they're afraid of getting nuked. It's not
Mm-hmm.
even that. It's like they have this ungodly, otherworldly power that they're harnessing through their weapons. We gotta find a way to fight them.
Like imagine if one country suddenly just had like super laser beams that they can fire from like anywhere through the Earth's crust and just blast holes in the planet. That's pretty much the like epitome of what's happening here. Comparatively anyways.
Howard Stark seemed to have no reservations about the destructive power he added to the world. So from the beginning, Stark's company,
Cuz he's fighting Nazis.
Wait, didn't his like biggest creation was just like a shield?
Oh
Wasn't
no. He also made like I think a tank.
a tank and a shield.
I don't know, that's all we see in Captain America. I'm sure he built more afterwards, but that was, post 1937.
Yeah, so it is post this movie. So like the only thing we know that he built before it just kind of went in control of like the Iron Man villain from the first movie
Mhm.
is a shield for Captain America and a tank to fight the Nazis. So where are you getting this from?
Oh, just the normal things that they do. I don't know. I mean, I don't understand what he's pulling from. If he's trying to pull from comics to explain the MCU or something, or
I
if
think
he's just like, he built a weapon, weapon equals bad, therefore, Howard Stark bad.
I mean, if he's going along that argument, we can dismiss him outright because that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Maybe he has a real argument. Maybe, he might. I doubt it, but he might.
We'll see.
Okay, well, hit up.
though seen as a company protecting the interests of humans, has been of questionable moral standing and has never really limited itself in terms of technological development. Yes, after Tony Stark gets blown up and captured by the terrorist group the Ten Rings, which is revealed to possess Stark tech, he has an epiphany and redirects his company away from the production of military weapons. But
Which
not
is
before
yet another reason that he is, like, very much less of a villain. Like, you could make an argument about, like, pre-this Tony Stark being some sort of, like, villain, even though he doesn't, like, know about it, because he's just like, aha, I am making so many guns. My guns are being supplied to terrorist organizations and stuff.
I mean, do we even know they're being supplied?
Well, yeah, because
Maybe.
Obadiah was selling them specifically to these terrorist organizations. But
That's,
again, that was Obadiah Stane, the villain of the first movie.
yeah. So again, how do people not like watch the Iron Man or like go back to the original?
They're just
Iron
like, oh
Man?
yes, he stopped making weapons, so that makes him slightly better. But, I mean, again, making weapons is not inherently evil.
Like this.
Like, tons of our, like, normal day-to-day life comes from, like, military tech that's been scrapped and, like, thrown in somewhere else.
Yeah,
Like
there's
fucking Velcro.
so much military tech.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
before building himself a prototype powered armor suit and the first version of the spectacularly powerful arc reactor. Okay, so ultimately Obadiah Stane becomes the villain, trafficking arms to criminals around
Ultimately,
the world.
he's the villain before the movie starts. He's the inciting incident. He pays them to go take out Stark.
If I was trying to convince you that Tony Stark was a villain, I would not bring up the villain who's doing all the evil stuff.
Like, before the movie starts, he is selling weapons to terrorists, paying terrorists to kill Tony Stark so that he can have control of Stark Industries, so he can sell more weapons to terrorists. Like, what the fuck is wrong?
Why would you bring up the fact, like, the guy who's completely...
He's like, technically he's the villain, but we all know that Tony Stark is the villain, right, guys?
Yeah. Even though the villain is doing all the bad stuff, I'm gonna blame the hero.
It's so dumb.
I make clickbait.
Uh-huh. It's fine. That's why we're watching this.
You were watching it so you
we're
don't have to.
reverse clickbait.
Yes, we are reverse clickbait.
God, I'm so mad.
You don't click on our... See, we're the reverse clickbait. You don't click on our video to watch bad content.
Uh-huh.
This guy makes it so that you click on his video to watch the bad content. You can come here where we don't give you the clickbait to watch bad content.
Mhm.
All right.
World and building the Ironmonger suit and all that. Fine. I'm not saying he's a great guy. He's a slightly less.
You're not saying he's a great guy? Oh my god, this man. He's like, oh yes, this man might be supplying actual terrorists with, like, super weapons, but nah, he's not a great guy. I'm so fucking upset, man.
When you don't actually watch the Iron Man and just read the Wikia plot.
God, it's like, did you see that Twitter post the other day where somebody was like, start normalizing reading the wiki instead of watching the show, so that way you can, like, jump in and, like, know things that fans know without actually watching any of it.
This dude
God.
had a conclusion and then went back to find proof.
And then didn't find any, so he's like, he's not a great guy,
You know what?
super
The only thing
terrorist who
the
wants
only
to
thing
kill
I will
Tony.
The only thing I will give him credit for is his ability to pad this out, because we are 2 minutes in, and
God, we're
he
only 2
still
minutes in.
yeah, we're
Oh
2
my
minutes
God.
in, and he still hasn't like given any proof. He's basically just described the first Iron Man.
He's describing it very disingenuously.
Yeah, no, he is taking the wiki plot, like not like the Marvel wiki plot, like actual Wikipedia, like plot to the movie.
And then
And-
twisting it so it sounds like Iron Man evil.
Well, he's like taking half of what's on there. So
Mhm.
he's taking half of a terrible plot of a wiki page that spends more time describing like the production of the movie than the actual plot. So
Mhm.
he's managed to take something you could read in 30 seconds and spread it out into over 10 minutes. So well done.
Mhm. You know, I have to give him props for that. Come here, buddy.
Scropey Mr. Clean. But what I am saying is that
Wait, whoa, what
Obadiah
is that?
Stane
Gropey Mr. Clean? Can we
Oh,
scrub
no,
that
he
back
was-
like 2 seconds?
Yeah, hold on.
powered armor suit and the first version of the spectacularly powerful arc reactor. Okay, so ultimately Obadiah Stane becomes the villain, trafficking arms to criminals around the world and building the Ironmonger suit and all that. Fine. I'm not saying he's a great guy. He's a slightly less gropey Mr. Clean.
Okay. So that's okay, so
Mr.
literal
Clean doesn't
literal
have a beard.
literal international terrorist is a slightly less gropey Mr. Clean. That's it.
What? Mr. Clean doesn't even like.
Mhm. So
What,
yeah.
you couldn't-
Yeah, you
couldn't
couldn't come
find
up
a-
with literally anything else. No, you had to be like, ah, yes, literal international terrorist. Like, actual man who supplies guns to people that kill people.
Hold on, I want to go back and look at Obadiah here.
And all that.
Look at him. He doesn't.
Obadiah's not even like jacked. He
He's
looks
not.
like he's got a dad bod. That's not what Mr. Clean is, and he's got a beard and mustache.
Oh my god. How do you
Could
make
you-
these. How does anybody take him seriously after this? I think this man has, like, what, 400,000 subs or something like that?
Oh my god, a white bald man. It's
No,
clearly Mr.
250,000. Alright. But oh
okay.
my god.
Clean.
Like,
It just makes me depressed about the world right
I
there.
thought I'd seen bad arguments before, like watching, other videos like what we're trying to do right now, but this is awful.
This is
I
pretty
never knew
bad.
it could hurt this much.
That. Fine. I'm not saying he's a great guy. He's a slightly less gropey Mr. Clean.
Uh-huh,
But
Mr.
what I
Clean's
am
a
saying-
terrorist now. God.
Okay, you know what? Okay, perfect pause point right there. But you know what else? He put his face to this,
Uh-huh.
and he revealed that he's got a worse receding hairline than me. And he decided to like leave a little mop on top to try and hide it.
Mm-hmm. See,
Also, he can't grow a mustache because that is clearly a man who hasn't shaved in a few days, and he can't even grow a mustache.
That's fine. Let's not do the ad hominem attacks.
Saying is that Obadiah Stane wouldn't have been possible without Stark Industries or Tony Stark.
You could have found a way.
Oh
Like
my
he
god.
he worked with Howard Stark. He doesn't need Tony. He's got like infinite money by the time he joins that, and then Tony comes back and starts taking over. Like it's the
Like,
whole thing in the beginning when the magazines. It's like Obadiah Stane was in charge of Stark Industries after the death of Howard Stark, and then Tony Stark showed back up when he was 21 and started taking control.
not
There was
only
like a
that,
whole thing.
Not only that, do you think like a villain who spent his entire life becoming a CEO of a like multinational corporation like this would not have
And
like
it's not like he's not like a tech guy. Like this is very much a tech guy that like builds his own weapons. I'm sure they're just not quite as good as like super genius Tony Stark.
yeah, he could easily have set up a rival company or a different company to do pretty much the same thing. And
Because all
you would
he
have
wants is like money, right? Like that's his entire motivation is just to have money by any means necessary.
yeah, so he could
Like
be doing
money
this
and power.
like he could do this with any company. It's not Tony who sets
Like
him
this guy
up.
could be Jeff Bezos. We don't know.
He could be doing any of this stuff. So it's just
I
the
just hate that
corporation
he's trying to
so-
downplay actual terrorist man versus Tony Stark, savior of Earth.
All right, here we go.
So the point one might make here is Tony changed his ways. He
Yes,
saw the
that
ills
is-
of his company
that is what
and
happened.
became an ethical person. Let's address this. First, even if he did change his ways, it's important to look at what he and his company were capable of at one point in his life. His actions in rapidly advancing military technology and distributing it around the world were
He wasn't distributing around the world. He was distributing it specifically to U.S. forces in Iraq. Like, this was during the Iraq War, right? Or Afghanistan, one of those two?
It was both of them.
Both of them. Alright, this was
Yeah.
2008. This was a very different time than what we have now. Like, people were still very against those places, and I don't think many people wanted to pull out until Obama started doing stuff. And that's fine. But that's not why we're here.
No,
But still,
he's not distributing around the world. This is
He's
a
literally-
demonstra-
it's,
This
yes.
is a demonstration for U.S. generals.
Mm-hmm.
He
To
is
make a
going-
sale of $500 million for his weapon. And even then, it's for the US military. You already know that they have, like, tons of weapons that are at least, like, almost as cool as this.
He's basically just getting a contract.
Yeah, like, he's just a businessman.
This is okay. This is dumb.
But
or
it's
that
like,
of someone who, if not a psychopath, is at least somewhat maniacal.
is he? Is he maniacal because he has a job?
Yeah.
Like,
Look at me,
yeah,
I
I
have
would say maybe he has, like, quite a bit of an ego problem, definitely before he gets blown up, and
That's-
slightly after. But, like,
Nope.
he's fine.
Go and find a really rich salesperson and tell me if they have an ego or not.
They do.
Right?
And I honestly, he kind of deserves having an ego because he is, again, super genius who discovered actual time travel. Saved the world, built a nanomachine robot suit, all these
Okay,
other
okay.
things.
Even in the first Iron Man, before
He
he
built
does
an
any of
infinite
this,
power generator.
even before he does any of this, he's the head of a corporation that like makes insane technology that he himself comes up with,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got more money than he knows what to do with. Like, what would you do if you were in his shoes? Would you be like some humble dude, or would you be like hitting up all the gold diggers?
I just don't understand how he can be like, oh yes, he's maniacal. Obviously, he's selling to the military so he can provoke more warfare. Or something like that. I'm guessing that's going to be his point, is that like, oh yes,
Oh
by
my
selling to
God.
the military, I'm going to provoke more warfare by having other people sell to the other side, so that way we can have more weapons sold. Because that's literally Obadiah's like whole thing, is that he wants to sell to like, you know, the foreign forces, so that way that the U.S. forces will be like, we need bigger and better weapons, guys.
That kind of pathology doesn't just go away. But of course, it didn't. I mean, did Tony Stark's behavior ever really change? When Tony returns from
Yes.
Okay, I want you to take a look at, like, Iron Man, like, very early in the movie Iron Man, and then compare it to, like, end of movie Iron Man, where he's like, ah, yes, I do this only for myself at the beginning. And then at the end, he's like, you know what, it feels good to kind of, like, go out and be a superhero and save people. Like, yeah, he's doing it kind of for his own reasons, because he wants to, and he thinks it'll make him look cool, and he wants Pepper to think he looks cool. Especially after that conversation that they have at the end of the movie where he's like, man, if I were a superhero, I'd need a super hot girlfriend or whatever. And then, at the end of all that, he's like, ah, yes, I am Iron Man. And that's literally how the first movie ends. Like, he just comes out in the public to be like, ah, yes, I will paint a huge target on my back. Let me just go out. And then you compare that to even later movies in the series. Like, compare it to Iron Man 3, where he crash lands and has to hang out with this, like, dumb kid for a little bit and build another Iron Man suit. Even though we don't talk about that movie, because most of the plot's bad. Like, that's a lot of good scenes with him and this kid just, like, going out and bonding and stuff. And, like,
captivity,
No,
why
don't
does he need
unpause
to
that. I'm
to
not
then
done.
build a complete
Stop it. And then compare that to later on in, like, Spider-Man Homecoming, alright? You got him, he's coming in to, like, constantly save Spider-Man. Like, just constantly. Every time he gets in trouble, Iron Man is there to, like, stop it and, like, fix things. And he's going out of his way to try and protect this kid. So that way he doesn't have to face up to any of the horrors that Iron Man has seen. A black hole, infinite space, a nuclear bomb going off, all that kind of shit that he had, like, trauma from in Iron Man 3. And he's just out here trying to keep this kid down in, like, the small places until he feels like he's ready. And then finally, when Spider-Man is ready, he's like, you know what, I think I was wrong. You should have been ready a while ago. I was just holding you back. And then, even then, after that, when he's in, like, Infinity War, and he sees, like, Spider-Man going like, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Like, he is, like, devastated that he could not protect this kid. Like, it is the end of his world for him. He's sitting there in space, crying and dying, as he, like, flies back to Earth in his busted-up ship until Captain Marvel shows up.
Okay, you
God.
ready? You ready
Yeah,
for
hit
a
But of
short
play.
course, it didn't. I mean, did Tony Stark's behavior ever really change?
So here's a shorter answer to that than what you gave. You're wrong.
When
There we
Tony
go.
returns from captivity, why does he need to then build a complete, more powerful suit? Hasn't
It's for himself.
He literally says in the movie, this is not a military thing, this is for me. I want this on my private server. I don't want anybody to have access to this.
hasn't his company ceased such pursuits? No pun intended. And it's this action in itself that helps to spur on an intra-company arms race with Obadiah.
It is not this action. No. You see, Obadiah found the original Iron Man suit that he used to escape. And that's what prompted him to go build a cool flying Iron Man robot suit. Because they found it out in the desert. There was a whole scene for this in the first movie. It wasn't, oh, I see that there's a man flying around. Let me build my own Iron Man suit so that way I can fight him. It's literally just like he sees, like, any sort of weapon technology, and he's just like, oh my god, I need to do this. And the only thing he knows is that Tony Stark managed to build an arc reactor, and that it's in his chest right now. Because Tony shows it to him, because he's stupid. And trusts him. I don't know. It's
Build the
fucking dumb.
most advanced armored suit, a race that endangered the entire world, a specialty of Tony Stark. Stark Industries has carelessly aroused global tensions by creating what political scientists call a security dilemma among states.
You could maybe argue that he does this in, like, Age of Ultron. Like, you can definitely argue that, because that is 100% like his fault that this happens. But
Which is
every other world-ending event is like Loki coming in and being like, ah, yes, Thanos is looking for the Infinity Stones, and here's some on this planet. Let me send in the Chitauri so they can wipe out the entire planet.
he doesn't create this security dilemma within his own company.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's missing an entire plot point that somebody else discovered the Iron Man suit and wanted to build his own. And
I
he
don't know
couldn't
if he
do it.
watched the movie.
I don't think he did.
Like, I did more research than this man going into his video than he did going into his video.
And we're not even putting our faces to this.
Uh-huh, because we're ugly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We see this come to fruition in Iron Man 2, While Iron Man pranced around building up his celebrity as Iron Man, Ivan Vanko was sitting back watching and was inspired to build his own arc reactor and the Whiplash Mark I suit, which he uses to attack Tony Stark.
Okay,
Am I
having not
remembering-
seen Iron Man 2 in forever, I have no idea.
He's not even the main villain, though. There's somebody else who takes control of all
Yeah,
the
no,
Iron
isn't
Man.
it like... No, I think that's Iron Man 3, but Iron Man 2, I think there is like a secondary villain. Like, he fights Whiplash for like a little bit, and then like one of his friends that he works with him at the company is just like, haha, I'm going to come in now and just wreak havoc with nuclear bombs or something. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Again, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie.
I remember Whiplash is not even like a main villain. He is like a minor guy who fights Iron Man for a little bit, and then he loses.
An event that probably never would have happened if Tony wasn't such an attention seeker.
I feel like, okay, hear me out. This man managed to build his own arc reactor. I feel like if left to his own devices, if Tony had never actually built an arc reactor and put it in some sort of war suit, this man probably could have done some other crazy shit. Like, you know, building nuclear bombs, his own laser beam technology. I mean, arc reactors would have existed without the Iron Man suit, because he managed to build one just to escape, and he was going to make that knowledge public. So people could have, like, reverse engineered them and put them in, like, super weapons and stuff. And if he weren't Iron Man, where would they be? And if he had died, then Obadiah Stane would have just had infinite weapons and power and been able to supply the world with an infinite war. So yeah, it would have been bad if Iron Man weren't there.
Like, the entire idea that this doesn't get created because Tony doesn't create it is faulty to an insane degree. Like, people will find a way to build these weapons if it's possible.
Yeah. Like,
And
everybody's gonna find a way eventually.
if you're able to reverse engineer it, you would have been able to find it.
Well, maybe. We don't know if he'd be able to find it, but again, like, okay, say Tony dies in the initial attack, Obadiah Stane takes over the world with infinite war and money. Say he lives the attack, manages to build his arc reactor, get back, but doesn't build the Iron Man suit, like, at all, and they never find his Iron Man suit in the desert. His arc reactor still exists. He plans to make it public knowledge so that other people can build them. That way they have infinite power for the entire world. These can be turned into super weapons, as we see by him building the Iron Man suit.
It's just
So, let's say somebody turns one into, like, a death cannon, like, just builds full Death Star, blows up the planet. There is no Iron Man to stop it. So, the only people you have left to worry about it is, like, you know, the other Avengers, I guess. Maybe Thor can try and stop a Death Star. If he even cares at this point, because he never meets Iron Man, because Iron Man doesn't exist. So he never cares about Earth.
Yeah, no, the entire point behind, like, the arc reactor is, like, it's not designed to be evil. People just use it for evil. It's designed to help because it's, in this universe, it's like unlimited free power.
Yeah, it's literally like a fusion reactor, if we could manage to build one of those, but better.
Yeah, so, like, him not sharing that would be probably more evil than him sharing it.
Like, it just raises quality of life for pretty much the entire planet by them having it.
Additionally, it is revealed that countries and organizations around the world have begun to try their hand at creating Iron Man-like suits in response to Iron Man's appearance on the public stage.
They all fail. They all fail because they don't have his technology. And he refuses to give out the technology for the Iron Man.
He does, in fact. Like, even when people, like, find bits and pieces of his Iron Man suits and try and, like, rebuild it from there, it just doesn't really work that well.
No, it doesn't. The only person who has an Iron Man suit is, who's
There's
the guy
what's his name, Rhodes? He has, like, sort of an Iron Man suit. He has the War Machine suit.
Yeah, War Machine. That's the only other guy who has it, and the only reason he has it is because Tony gave it to him because he fought alongside him in Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3.
I think, no, he built one for, like, the military or whatever. Like, that was the whole point of that, is that he built it and he was, like, doing it as a display, and he was like, yeah, it's not quite as good as my suit, because my suit's the best and would cost way too much to mass produce. But look at this, it's, like, a pretty good suit. You can send your troops into combat, they'll never get hurt, it should be fine. Alright, we are live, I believe. I'm live on Twitch. Give me a second.
Way to screw up. I'm just gonna point out the fact that Zach wanted to do it because my computer was too bad.
My computer's never done this before. It's only been like the last 2 days. It's been weird. I need to get it looked at.
Okay.
Alright,
So we're
let me
continuing
hit
with this.
play and see where it picks up for me. Do you know where we were in the video?
It was about here. He's
Iron Man
Okay.
he's talking about like the
Go back
the
a little bit.
knockoff Iron Man. He's talking about the knockoff Iron Man suits.
Okay.
world have begun to try their hand at creating Iron
Is the video good for you? Stream good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he's talking about this point about how like
Man
the
like
rest of the this is like, do cartoons exist in here in this universe theoretically?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Japan exists in here, so they
Comic
have
books
Gundam.
exist.
Yeah, so there's a thing called like Gundam Wing. So
Mhm.
how can you say, oh, they're trying to build an Iron Man suit? I can make the same argument that they're trying to build Gundams.
God, Gundams are so cool. Imagine if those existed in like the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
Just
so,
giant
like,
fucking robots that fly through space and fight shit.
yeah.
That's all I want.
You know why the military hasn't created these things yet? Because they're useless. In the actual world, they're useless unless you have like the Tony Stark billionaire who can constantly keep resupplying himself. And
I don't
doing all
know
this.
if they'd be useless, because we do know for a fact that there is like alien races and shit, and the U.S. has built like spaceships. Besides
saying
just Tony. Like, S.H.I.E.L.D. has their entire space division at the end of Captain Marvel. And no, that's at the end of Far From Home. The like post credit scene.
But that's after they get Tony Stark stuff.
I know, I'm just saying, like, you know, there is other stuff
Let's
that's
say-
going on.
I'm saying like in
But yeah, no, he doesn't have a
actual
point.
an actual world, which is basically what every other country is. Nobody is spending their time and money trying to create an Iron Man suit. Like,
Mhm.
did you? That thing had like 2 little guns on its back, and it fell over because it couldn't move that far with someone in it.
Mhm.
Like, you know what does that better? A Humvee.
Mhm.
A Humvee does that better.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fall apart that easily. So,
Okay.
where is this even coming from?
Well, let's
like suits in response to Iron Man's appearance on the public stage, most notably Stark's rival Justin Hammer, who builds an entire line of
Yeah, wasn't he the villain of the second movie?
Yes, he was the one who helped Whiplash.
Yeah, he built these cool robot suits, and he's like, haha, they're unmanned, so you don't even need anybody. And then don't they
Yeah.
get, like, hacked into or some shit?
Yeah. He,
of
like,
hammer drones, Iron Man-inspired robots meant for militaristic operations. Hammer, of course, uses these drones to attack Tony Stark, and probably had malicious intentions for their use in
Probably? You think?
sale around the world. Once again, I'm not defending an obvious
Look at that
yes,
face.
you are.
You're
villain
literally
in Justin
defending him.
Hammer. But while Tony Stark
He's literally defending them by excusing their actions and blaming it on somebody else.
His argument is literally like whataboutism. It's literally just, well, this guy did some robot shit, so Tony Stark did some robot shit, so he's just as bad as this guy that did robot shit.
Yeah. Also, now that there's actual superheroes in there, your army of robot guys failed.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Tony Stark is going to continue to go on.
A literal army of robot guys in Age of Ultron existed, and they were far superior to any robot that had ever existed on, like, this plane of existence. And, yeah, they didn't end so well for them.
Oh, and by the way, whether Tony builds that or not, the Tesseract is still on Earth, and Thanos still comes and takes it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Tony building his, like, robot does not determine whether Thanos comes here or not.
Yeah,
So-
it's nothing to do with, like, the causality of this.
Yeah, no, Loki comes here in the start, and either you have all of this, or you have none of it.
Mm-hmm. Because,
I'm
like,
pretty
again,
sure.
without the Iron Man suit in the first place, they never would have gotten the nuclear bomb through the black hole wormhole thing into space so they could blow up the Chitauri forces. They would have just blown up New
Right.
York City instead.
And Shield doesn't become anywhere near as powerful because they don't have access to Stark Industries.
They don't get the helicarriers and all that shit.
Right.
Like,
So they don't.
yeah,
So they don't
no,
get
the
any of
world
that.
just ends in Avengers if there's no Iron Man.
Yeah. In Avengers,
Like, he plays such an integral role to, like, this
yeah,
entire universe's, like, plot line.
it
It's
plays
not even funny.
like he's the one who like him creating the suit allows the world to defend itself from Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Because how many stones are on Earth?
I think, like, 3.
Yeah,
You
there's
got the
like
Mind Stone, you got the Tesseract Stone, whatever that one is, and then
the Tesseract. That's
the one
Space
that's in
Stone.
Jane Foster.
The Reality Stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 of the stones on Earth, which means Thanos is coming. Whether Iron Man builds his suit or not, Thanos is coming. And your best bet is having like all this.
Oh, and the
advanced
Time
technology.
Stone. So yeah, you've got 4 on Earth.
Wait, the Mind Stone wasn't on Earth.
No, the
Mind
Time Stone. The
Yeah.
one that Doctor Strange has.
Yeah.
And the
Doctor
Mind
Strange-
Stone is on Earth.
No, Loki brings it to Earth.
The Mind Stone? I thought that was how he built, like, his Super Jarvis or whatever in the Age of Ultron.
It's because they took it from Loki's staff. Loki was given the staff.
Oh. Yeah, no,
Loki-
you're right, you're right.
Yeah. So it's the Time Stone from Doctor Strange.
So yeah, just
which-
3.
Which he can't himself build, like destroy. There's the Reality Stone, which is in Jane Foster, which Thor doesn't even know. So how is he going to be able to like defend it?
The
Like go to
Space Stone.
and the Space Stone is the Tesseract, which is like, is it found after is it found after Captain America goes underneath?
What do you mean?
Plunges. Because doesn't at the end he
Yeah, they
sends-
find it. That's why Shield has it.
Okay, so Shield
Remember,
has
they
it.
have it in Captain Marvel. Or something
Okay.
like that.
No, it's in the first Avengers, yeah, because they steal it from him. They steal it from Shield. So all 3 of those are on there. So Thanos is coming. I'm pretty sure I've seen this theory, but Thanos comes as soon as who's Doctor Strange's master who dies?
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, but you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
As soon as she dies, that's when Thanos feels free to come to Earth, because she's like one of the few characters who could potentially beat Thanos. Without Infinity Stones. Like he has the Mind Stone, and that's maybe it.
Isn't
But she has
Doctor Strange technically stronger than her?
He becomes stronger than her later, but like up until this point,
I don't know. I don't think it's explicitly stated in the movie that she's why he doesn't come. So let's go
No,
with
no,
only movie
but-
knowledge.
no, that's the theory as to why he doesn't invade. He doesn't just come himself.
I just think he's like, now I'll just send my pawns. These guys aren't worth my time. And then after he gets like thwarted twice, he's just like, you know what? Maybe they are worth my time. Let me go kick some asses.
No, because he could have gone himself.
He could have,
but
but he was just like, nah, I'm busy. I'm doing my own thing. Wasn't he still searching for the other stones and stuff?
Well, he
Like
did.
trying to get information on how to get the Soul Stone?
He was looking for all of that, but he wasn't playing his hand because there were still people who could stop him.
Okay.
Like there were still people out there who could. Like Thanos is not that powerful. It's the Ancient One.
Okay. Well, let's hit
Each
play.
one. All right, go ahead.
Stark and Colonel James Rhodes were celebrated for their heroism for defeating the Hammer drones in the Whiplash Mark II suit worn by Ivan Vanko. We have to also note that none of this would have happened had Tony Stark never created the Iron Man Mark II.
Again, this is just more like, yes, if nukes had never been invented, we never would have had the Cold War. Like, it's just very dumb.
It's complete stupidity. I weep for people who believe this.
If guns had never been invented, then we would have never had the Revolutionary War or something. It's just like, there would be less war if there were no guns. No, there wouldn't be less war. There would be so much more. It would just be bows and arrows everywhere, people trying to kill each other. I don't think we would have made it out of, like, or what's it called, the Renaissance.
We would
We would have gone back to another dark age.
We would still be, like, in Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, dying at the age of 30.
Mm-hmm. Like, guns gave us some sort of peace, because people were less likely to wage warfare on you if you had guns.
If you, like, guns are the ultimate equalizer.
Mm-hmm. Like, literally, you know, you need skill and, like, talent to be good with a bow. You need to be strong and trained. To use a gun, all you have to do is be able to point the, like, pointy end at the other guy. It's
Yeah,
really not that hard.
Yeah. And, again, same with this thing, too. It's like, they were... Isn't he in a rival company?
He is. They literally already said that in this video.
Yeah, so he's looking to create his own weapons, too. So, like, if he's willing to go after someone with all of this technology, why would he do that with or without Tony Stark?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he went after the one guy who could stop him. Imagine if nobody could stop him.
God. Yeah, again, like, these people probably could have built their own Iron Man drone suits. They were just inspired by Tony. Like, he probably pushed the technology forward another 30 years.
Yeah.
But 30 years isn't that long in the grand scheme of things. And
I mean,
again,
if
the
you
world wouldn't last 30 years.
Yeah, so the other issue is that, okay, he builds a bunch of drones, suits. Okay, he doesn't create the Iron Man, so he just builds a bunch of drones with, like, insane... Like, he builds more drones with weapons. Like, okay, is that better?
And then let's say, like, you know, a week goes by, and then some hacker kid, who's like a super genius, is like, I'm gonna take control of the drones and nuke Russia, bro. And then he just does it, because obviously that can happen in this world. Like, we've seen people who are way too smart do crazy shit.
Yeah, this is dumb. Another dumb argument.
Mark II armor in the first place. Tony Stark's megalomania then gets fully out of control in Iron Man 3. He has some sort of PTSD from all...
Some sort of PTSD. Man, this man flew into space, thought he was gonna die, saw a nuclear bomb go off, fell, like, thousands of feet, and then barely managed to survive. I would have PTSD a little.
It's not even PTSD.
No, he has actual, like, PTSD in the movie. Like, that's a plot point, and it's very good.
Okay, well, the entire
alien,
thing is, like, his entire character.
The alien invasion.
You keep, like, pausing.
Sorry, I accidentally maximized it. I was trying to undo that.
No, his entire, like, motivation going into Ultron and going into Civil War was
to stop war and, like, stop crazy shit from happening before it happens.
He saw the army that was brought by Loki and figured there was more out there, which is an entire, like, it's not just a movie plot point. It's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe plot point to Iron Man.
Like, he is taking this massive turn in his life, where at first he thought they were, like, the only ones out there, and then he bumps into Thor, who's, like, an alien, extraterrestrial, godlike being who can, like, throw a hammer around and cause lightning to shoot out of it. And then he's introduced to Loki, who can, like, bend people's minds to his will and force them to do whatever he wants just by poking them with a stick. And then he meets the Chitauri, which is, like, this crazy alien race that nobody on Earth, except for, like, the Avengers, is ready to fight and, like, try to defeat.
Well, the thing with Tony is he's the only one who actually sees the true power of the Chitauri. Like, the nuke doesn't take them out. The nuke is not what takes them out. It was the closing of the portal. The nuke just prevents, like, a few more of them.
It stops the, like, front ones from coming through. And honestly, the only reason they even needed the nuke was because it was launched on the city in the first place, and he just wanted to put it somewhere where it wouldn't hurt, like, New York City.
Yeah, but he sees a full Chitauri army that's coming through that can, like...
And it's bigger than, like, anything the world has.
Yeah, no, like, what they fought was, like, the scouts. Like, it was a bunch of scouts, and it took the entire Avengers, like, full might to, like, try and stop.
And it couldn't even stop them. They just stemmed the flow a little bit.
Yeah. So
And that's why his next like whole arc is like, I want to put a shield around the Earth to stop this from
yeah,
ever happening again.
yeah, it's his entire
Like
motivation,
all
and
he wants to do is protect the Earth.
and it's his seeing of that versus like Captain America seeing what Tony is doing is like their whole conflict with each other.
Mhm.
Like Captain America doesn't see what's out there, but he sees Tony trying to do all this stuff and push everything to like its extreme to try and protect, and everything that he keeps pushing his extreme turns out bad, which is why Iron Man keeps trying to stop him. But he's got this thing in the back of his mind where there's this giant army out there that is either sent by Loki or sent by someone else, and
Mhm.
it's a
And
problem
it's
that we
still
need to
out
stop.
there.
Which is like they're both like, which is what makes the that Captain America Iron Man like conflict so good, is that they're both right.
Mhm.
Like
Like
Captain
the thing
America's
is, Tony, I think he really does just want to protect the Earth, but he goes to like very, very extreme means to do so.
yeah, and
Sometimes using the ends justify the means, whereas Cap is all about the means justifying the ends. Like they are just very different people in their viewpoints.
yeah, and not referencing any of the Avengers stuff is disingenuous on his part.
Mhm. But it's fine. He has supposed PTSD.
Invasions, or perhaps it's just a lunatic unraveling before our eyes.
No. No. You see, he's very sane. He's very cohesive throughout like every movie. Like he is just there. He is so single-mindedly focused on protecting the Earth at this point. Like that is just all he cares about, to the point that he's like, yeah, I built 73 Iron Man suits to protect me and my own and the world. They can fly to anywhere I want them to within like seconds. But no,
Yeah,
he's just going crazy.
yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Click
Let's
it.
get through this. Let's get through this. This is ridiculous.
We're not even halfway.
I know. But a lot of this is
And as a
padding.
result, he builds dozens of new Iron Man suits, a completely irresponsible
Yes, dozens of new Iron Man suits that are somehow disabled by like 4 humans.
Yeah.
Or wait, are these the like weird meta-humans that melt things, or is that only the big main guy? I don't remember.
I don't know. I pushed Iron Man 3 and 4 out of my
undertaking,
memory.
making
There's
it
still
ever
4.
more likely that one of these armors
No.
eventually ends up in the wrong hands. Mental illness is nothing to joke about. But is the rest of the world supposed to feel bad for Tony as he puts us in danger?
I don't understand him. He's just like, oh yes, mental illness is nothing to joke about. Let me make jokes about his PTSD and say that it's not actually valid because he hasn't done anything.
Oh my god. This is. He is ignoring the threat that the Avengers movie
Like,
created. which
I don't
Iron Man
understand
3
why
comes
he is only going
after.
based off of... Yeah, exactly. Watch him
This
go
is
into
a-
Avengers after this and be like, oh yeah, now there's an alien invasion.
Does he
He's
not
probably
understand-
only gonna bring up Avengers 2, where he can be like, haha, see, he built evil robots.
Oh my god. If he goes Avengers 2, I'm just gonna
Sure,
lose it.
because he's a crazy person with control over some of the world's most destructive technology? Again,
He was like that before he built
Like,
Iron Man.
I
suits.
wouldn't
He
say
was-
he's crazy. He's definitely you know, a little out there, but he's not
He's
crazy. He's
scared.
just seeing things on like a whole nother plane of existence compared to us normal humans.
He is scared of what's out there. He has seen a glimpse of what is out there trying to get to Earth, and he is scared.
God.
Like what? Jesus.
he eventually realizes that he was wrong to create all these suits, or maybe he just wanted to make his girlfriend happy, and he destroys them. Great. I just fear that one day Tony will make a mistake that he won't be able to take back. One that will destroy us all. In Avengers Age of Ultron,
There it is. You called it.
I
gonna
did.
He's gonna ignore the first Avengers.
Where
and
he
go to
gets his
Ultron.
PTSD and his crazy fear of the outside and everything, and needs to build this stuff. And then he's like, nah, it's fine.
Isn't the beginning of Avengers Age of Ultron when they like attack a Hydra hideout and find
Yeah.
all the Chitauri stuff?
I
About
think
them
so.
And like Hydra's trying to bring back the Chitauri, which
Mhm.
pushes Tony to try and create Ultron sooner than what it actually is.
It could be. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I do remember them raiding some sort of base, and I think the
Yeah.
Tesseract was there when they got there. Like,
No,
that's
the
how...
test.
No, 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 the Tesseract was there, because that's how Hydra got it, and then they explained that in Endgame, like, how, Hydra got the Tesseract again.
Okay, so yeah, they were bringing the Chitauri over, which meant he was scared to death. Like
Mm-hmm.
his entire fear, just like, holy crap, I've been afraid of this whole thing, and I've been trying to find ways to do it, and Hydra just went around all my ways to prevent this Chitauri
Mm-hmm.
invasion from coming, and nearly succeeded.
Mm-hmm. He's like,
And
God, I'll never be able to fully stop it, so why not build something to help
yeah,
minimize damage?
so he pushes forth this thing early.
Mm-hmm.
Ultron, Stark reveals his Ultron Global Defense Program, an initiative that once again he disregards all potential dangers to create. Tony's selfishness, conceit, and grandiosity are on full display once again as he
It's not an ego thing. God.
Like, he is just so single-minded about protecting people, but nah, this guy can't see past that, and he's just like, haha, obviously, he just wants to help his own ego and make himself wealthier and stuff.
There's a recommended video about the entire storyline. Go and watch it because clearly you're missing key elements to the Marvel Cinematic Universe storyline.
Okay.
This, th-
Like,
as he
honestly, if
moves
you
the
haven't
program.
seen the movies, I would highly recommend watching the movies. Like, most of them are pretty good. Even, like, Age of Ultron has its moments of, like, pretty goodness, and it sets up one of the best films in Civil War,
yeah,
like, very well.
Age of Ultron is like the prequels.
Mm-hmm. It's got good ideas, but it's, like, God,
It's
everything to do with
poorly,
Ultron is bad.
yeah.
It's like, haha, I
Ultron.
did not upload myself to the internet and have, like, a backup copy in Russia. I'm just gonna be instantly destroyed the instant my core goes down. Like,
There's
it's so
like
dumb.
the Ultron stuff is dumb, but like the characters alongside of Ultron are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, um, the
Like,
vibranium.
they needed the movie to be, like, written up so that way, you have, a way to
I
end it at the end, which,
Yeah,
they could have done a better job and been like, oh, Ultron can only have one core body at a time and everything else is just a drone that he controls or something like
yeah.
that.
They
But the
they
way that
could
they
have.
wrote it was literally just, he got into the internet. It is over at that point. Once he gets into the internet, there is no going back. He will be uploaded into 74 different databases where he can, like, expedite himself into another body at any given time. You can't block him
Yeah,
at, like, one point and be like, haha, we beat him, Lamau, it's over.
they made Ultraman too powerful in Age of Ultron,
You mean
so that he
Ultron,
couldn't.
not Ultraman?
Yeah, Ultron, whatever.
That's a
They
completely different thing.
they built him to be too strong.
And then, like, they just basically nerfed his intelligence. As he's like, oh yes, I built myself a super vibranium suit that's infinitely more powerful than my base suit. But instead of building more of them because I can, I'm just gonna build a bunch of shitty drones that get taken out by, like, punches and kicks from Captain America.
Yeah, no, it. They made his superpowers more powerful and made his intelligence less. And I feel like if you switch that around, Ultron actually becomes a decent character.
Like, he could
Who
still
could
be a
be,
threat. Like, he could have been brought in to, like, help fight Thanos maybe or something and been, like,
yeah,
actually kind of cool. Because,
he
like, I
could
think
have.
in the original Avengers storyline, they eventually did manage to kind of, like, contain him in, like, a chip or something and, like, have conversations with him without uploading him to the internet. And I think he helped, like, develop some shit. I don't know. But anyways, it would have been cool. It was a missed opportunity. Age of Ultron is a mediocre movie.
It is, but it does set up some cool stuff.
It really does. Civil War's great.
program forward because of his obsession with testing the limits of the universe's technological potential. Then, Tony
No,
barely hesitates or consults anyone
Uh-huh.
before using the AI and Loki scepter.
he consults Bruce Banner, the only other person on there who understands the technology.
Like, probably the only person in this, like, entire planet who would understand this stuff. Like, they are the two top genius scientist minds on the planet.
They're the only. He consults.
At least
Bruce
that he
Banner
knows
for
about. If there's anybody else later on, he hasn't met them yet.
Yeah, so the only other person on this planet who understands the technology he's going through is Bruce Banner, and he consults him throughout the entire movie. It's the both of them versus Captain America after Ultron was out there, who have the conversation about everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But throughout this entire thing, it's not Captain America, it's not Iron Man testing the limits of what he can do with technology. Oh my god. This is like someone who like was on their cell phone the entire time through Iron Man, like through all of these movies. If he watched these, he was on his cell phone tweeting the entire time.
Bet. He was like, oh, I just watched this movie and Iron Man's crazy, bro. How do y'all not know this? I'm gonna make a video about this now.
Compliments of the Mind Stone to complete Ultron. The pure arrogance for Tony to think that no one else should be involved in such a risky decision.
He had Banner.
Banner was in there, and oh my god, who else is gonna help him?
Who else is godlike genius powers?
Thor doesn't use that. Thor uses magic. Black Widow doesn't know what's going on. She basically just like shows up and kills stuff. Hawkeye is just a guy who's got like
he is, and I quote, a guy with a bow.
Yeah, he is like he's just like a good agent with a bow and arrow. And Captain America doesn't even know what a cell phone is.
Well, I think
like,
at this point he's caught up on what a cell phone is. Like post Avengers, he's good.
Like he's got some idea about the technology, but how he doesn't understand anything like to this level.
No, not at this level. Absolutely not.
Who else is he going to consult about this? The only person he can consult is Bruce Banner, and he does. What is wrong with this man?
You know, it's fine, Joey. We don't need to understand this man's big... He is so far above us with his big brain. Like, we mortals could never understand. Like, even Tony Stark couldn't understand this man.
If he comes back down to Earth, that mop top on his head's gonna fly off.
Astounding. Every single human on Earth has to live in danger so Tony can make cool gadgets.
No! Oh my god. He's doing the exact opposite. He is making cool gadgets so that way we don't have to live in danger.
Jesus Christ. Did this man just, like, not watch all the movies? Or, like, most of the movies?
I don't know if he did. If he did, maybe he was high as fuck when he saw him. Who knows?
You have to, like, actively ignore the Marvel Cinematic Universe to come to this conclusion.
But nah, I mean, he's got to do it for the clickbait, am I right? We're still barely halfway through this video. Can we go?
But I digress, of course.
Die.
Ultron awakes and decides he has to eradicate humanity in order to save Earth.
Okay, the Ultron thing, his programming, he's
like
kind of like, his programming's like almost designed to protect Earth and not humanity. So like, this is the thing with like a lot of the Marvel movies is like they make a lot of their really evil villains to be like environmentalists. So like his whole thing is like, I gotta protect the Earth. Oh, humans bad, so I need to kill them. Like, that's kind of like how all the Marvel movies are. So if you wanna blame like why Ultron is bad, blame the writing for like giving Ultron the same motivation as Thanos. But
worse.
Yeah, but worse.
Tony
like you could
might
just blame
have worked hard and risked
writing.
his life to save the world from Ultron, but I'm sorry, he gets no credit. Look around.
It's like, yes, he might have actually saved the entire world from a problem that he started, but you know, it's fine.
Which was created to save
Ultron.
a different problem. It was created to stop the... He doesn't even know who Thanos is, but he knows he's got a giant army that could, like, take over planets.
Like, they could be
Like,
coming through space any second now.
Thanos' army single-handedly destroyed the rest of Asgard. Like, Asgard was... And they
well,
did
this
it with,
hasn't
like,
happened yet, but yeah, he single-handedly destroys the other half of Asgard, or whatever that survives.
Yeah,
People that have been shown to be, like, great warriors, able to fight on par with, like, different planes of existence, like elves and frost giants and shit.
And his traveling army, not like his like full might, but like his traveling army, dispatches them with no issue whatsoever.
Like, it's literally just like him and like 6 other people, really.
Yeah, eliminates them
And he
completely.
just smashes everyone. Smashes Hulk, smashes Thor, just goes in and goes
Yeah.
ham.
Yeah, this is
Kills Loki outright.
and he, like, for all of what Tony understands, he doesn't understand the strength of what's coming. He just knows it's a problem.
Wasn't a threat before Tony created him. He was cleaning up a mess he made, and not before the world suffered catastrophic damages and many, many deaths. My friends, this is an obvious instance in which, and it pains me to say this, the world would have been better off without Iron Man. And Tony doesn't act...
I think
Oh
the
my
problem
God.
with saying this is that if Iron Man had not existed previously, the world would already be over. So saying, yes, he might have saved the world, at least once or twice or several times. But because he did this one bad thing, where, a few, I guess, it is bad. It is, let's not, like, minimize it. Thousands of people died, and that's why we got the Sokovia Accords later. But, he does attempt to change from this. Like, he grows as a character, which is why we like him so much.
It's this is the world is not better off without Iron Man.
The world would not exist without Iron Man. Like, there would be no world to, like, end by, Ultron if Iron Man did not exist. Humans would have been wiped off the face of the planet by the Chitauri already.
Yes.
But alright.
seemed to really learn his lesson either. In order to combat Ultron, Tony uploads Jarvis into a synthetic body in order to create Vision.
No, he doesn't. Jarvis is actively fighting against Ultron. The Mind Stone comes in, and that's how they're able to overpower Ultron's programming into the ultimate body, and that's what creates Vision. Vision isn't even Jarvis anymore because of his mixture with the Mind Stone. He's his own being. Actively getting the plot wrong to try and make your point does not help your point.
You are correct.
We're mad scientists. We're monsters, buddy. You gotta own it.
The being that became Vision could have joined Ultron in attacking humanity. And then there's the superhero civil war. You'll remember that the Avengers are facing bad PR due to the Brock Rumlow incident in Lagos, Nigeria, in which multiple civilians were killed thanks to Wanda.
Look at this. I want you to see this. Alright, look around. There are civilians surrounding them in the blast radius. Like, when he goes flying up, you see that the blast radius is huge. It is either kill these civilians and Captain America and Wanda, who will, die and not be able to help people anymore, or kill other people. Like, it is a railroad problem, or a trolley problem, I guess. And Wanda doesn't even think about it. She just sends him flying up because she's like, God, I can't let these people I can see down here die. Then she sends it flying up, they explode.
The exploding Brock Rumlow
Like,
into
I don't
a
think she
nearby
could have
building.
known that it
Because
would have
God
blown out
forbid
whole of
he
the building.
should explode in the vicinity of a bunch of nearly immortal superhumans rather than in an office filled with Dave.
Like, it's so disingenuous. There's
They're
civilians
not-
surrounding them everywhere. They're all freaked out and running away, but they're still within the blast radius.
They're not immortal either.
They aren't, especially Wanda. She's a normal-ass human when it comes to, like, her body. All she has is, like, her crazy mind powers. Like, maybe she could have bent the explosion around her, but then so many normal people still would have died.
Yeah.
Like, there are still civilians in the area. And I don't think anybody expected that blast radius to be quite so big from, like, a shirt bomb.
Okay, and their bad publicity, too, isn't that to create the Wachovia Accords to, like...
Sokovia.
Or the Sokovia Accords to, like, have control over the Avengers?
It's literally it. Like, this whole thing is, like, engineered that way.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure the politicians aren't completely lying to get control over the most powerful group on the planet. Especially, isn't it the UN?
Yeah, it is the UN. Or it's the UN that will have the uttermost say in the end.
Yeah, the most corrupt organization on the planet wants to have control over them. And wow, they created some shitty PR to try and lie about it. I'm fully on Captain America's side when he says no, the UN is not going to have it, because the UN is awful.
And I can
And
see where Tony is coming from, because during all of this, you know, he keeps seeing, like in the beginning of Civil War, he goes through his, like, therapy session where he's like, man, I wish I could have said, like, goodbye to my parents and stuff, and, like, does that thing on stage with his immersive therapy. And then, like, literally not 2 minutes later, he's, like, approached by some woman who's like, I wish I could have said goodbye to my son, too, but you killed him in Sokovia. And he's like, shit, I did that. And he, like, it starts eating him alive. Like, you can see it throughout the movie. He is just constantly thinking about this kid. And, like, all the other people that he killed because he fucked up with the Ultron.
Yeah. Everyone...
And he's like, God, I need to be put in check. I am a monster.
Okay, how many people, after making a mistake and reflecting on it, make another bad mistake afterwards?
I mean, plenty. Like, everyone.
Yeah, everyone does that, which is exactly what Tony is doing with, like, his entire spiel about the Sokovia Accords.
I mean, again, I think he's doing it for the right reasons. Like, even at the end of the movie, he's like, Cap, just, like, agree with me, say it, you'll do it, and then we can go from there. Like, we can tell him to fuck off whenever we want, but we'll just do it for now, because we need the world on our side.
And Cap refuses to do it because
he doesn't believe, he has, like, you know, standards and morals. Where, like, Iron Man, again, is very much ends justify the means. As long as he gets the ends he needs, which is the protection of Earth, he is fine with doing just about anything that he would want to do.
Yeah, but...
Whereas Cap, he is very much means and ends. So he has to do things by the book, by the rules, every single time.
Oh, by the way, I just noticed this.
Even if it involves breaking the law and becoming an international war criminal.
Iron Man isn't there, right, when the guy explodes?
No, he's not. It's just Cap and, like, a few other people.
So he's making the argument here that all the Avengers are bad guys because of this.
Mm-hmm.
So... expand on that. Like...
No, it's fine.
Hashtag remember Dave. Because of this event, Secretary of State...
Hashtag you're a moron.
State Thaddeus Ross attempts to compel the Avengers to endorse the Sokovia Accords, a resolution proposed by...
Isn't he a villain in...
Yeah, in other Marvel, because he's Thunderbolt Ross or whatever. Like, I think he runs his own team of crazy people or something. That's coming up in a new movie. Actually, no. It's in the Black Widow leaks. Which we'll talk about after this.
I thought one of the people pushing the Sokovia Accords was someone from S.H.I.E.L.D. Who was infiltrated by Hydra.
Maybe. But again, Ross is not the best guy.
No. The people pushing the Sokovia Accords are not good people. Alright, let's keep going.
By the United Nations to basically control the Avengers. Now, Tony Stark tries to make us believe that the reason he enthusiastically supports the Accords is that he feels guilty that he played a part in the rise of Ultron and the deaths of innocent civilians. But I see this as simply more egotism from Tony Stark and even an attempt to deflect blame.
All right, I'm gonna apply his logic to him right now. I see his arguments that Iron Man is evil as the fact that he has no testicles and a tiny penis. Now, there's absolutely no correlation to this, which is exactly what he's pulling from. But you know what? I'm gonna say it anyways, and I'm gonna say it as if it's fact. How's that?
It's using about the same amount of logic.
It's literally using the same logic.
I like how he started this video off being like, let's look at this through an intellectual lens. And then every single point he's made so far is just, Iron Man bad because weapon bad because he made weapon. When he make weapon, weapon bad. When other people make weapon, it's because Iron Man bad.
There's nothing about this that makes sense.
It's fine,
Nothing.
Joey. Let's keep going. We got 2 minutes left.
He was the one who created Ultron, not the rest of the Avengers, not all superheroes.
It was him and Banner.
Captain America had...
Like, him and Banner helped
Him and Banner
make
do it.
Ultron.
Him and Banner do it, and he's doing
But
the same mistake.
has the IQ of a potato. He can't...
Captain America is very intelligent. Like, he thinks faster than, like, any human being. That's how he can, like, calculate how his shield works. Like, he bounces it off surfaces and calculates trajectory and velocity and all that, so he can catch it on the rebound. Like, he is very good. He can dodge bullets. Like, it's insane.
not only that, he also
He
has
just might not know about technology.
He's got an insane tactical brain too.
Mm-hmm.
He has he is the
Like,
one
he
who's
is
directing
very quick
all
thinking.
of the fights. He
Mm-hmm.
quickly thinks. He quickly sees stuff. That's why he's. That's why people like complain
And
about.
he adjusts very fast.
Yeah, he's the one telling people what to do. Like, even in battle, Tony Stark, aka the smartest man on the planet, listens to what Captain America tells him to do in a battle because that's how good Captain America is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't see dumb people or people with the size of a potato making battle decisions.
Like, if you've ever seen The Last Airbender, and there's this character, Sokka, who is portrayed as, like, an idiot most of the time. Like, he's dumb, he's clumsy, he does things, but when it comes to, like, military tactics and stuff, he's, like, a genius. He will come up with a plan, like, instantly. And it will be the best plan that anybody's ever heard of. And, like, that's kind of how they portray Cap in these movies. It's like, oh, he's dumb, he doesn't know about technology, he doesn't know what Facebook is or MySpace. What a
He's
lame boy. But then, like, comes into military tactics, and suddenly it's like, ah, yes, everybody, listen to Cap. He knows what he's talking about. And this man served as, like, a military general in World War II.
he's not even portrayed to be an idiot.
It's not. It's just he's a little technologically behind.
It's part of like the charm and the humor behind the Marvel movies, which makes them like not just like these gritty everything's like gonna die, but makes you like fall in love with the characters. Like his running joke is he doesn't understand what's going on because he's from the 1930s.
Mm-hmm. Well, 1940s,
like,
but yeah.
30s and 40s, yeah, that's kind of when the movie takes place. But like, how is he going to understand? Like, his entire running joke is just you took a guy from like the 40s and you planted him in nowadays, so you can like yeah, it's not like super advanced writing, but it's like okay writing of where like I mean what was it Winter Soldier, he had like that one joke about movies he had to see, and he has like his little list of stuff he has to look up and watch
Mm-hmm.
to like catch up. Like that's a funny little Easter egg that if you're paying attention, you could see some of the movies and probably like some of the writers or people on set, their favorite movies of all time, like right in there. If you really like it, there's little hints to it about everything he does, but the military tactics part points to how smart he actually is. Also, his trajectory is not a thing because he's got a magnet on the back of his hand.
No. But still, he can, like, bounce it off walls to hit other people and stuff.
Yeah, he can bounce it off walls, but he doesn't like trajectory it to come back to him. He's got a magnet for that.
Well, I mean, I guess, but still, like, he uses trajectory to hit things off of walls and things, and then he runs up and manages to, like, catch it as it's flying through the air, even if he does have a magnet.
Yeah, no,
And, like, a lot of the time, he just catches it with his hand and throws it again.
Yeah, so he is.
So he is very smart, very fast-witted.
Yeah, he's a smart person whose running joke is he doesn't know about our time.
Like,
So,
imagine, like, a 60-year-old genius who doesn't know what memes are, and that's pretty much what Cap is.
Yeah, so his entire thing is so that people with the intellect of this guy can, like, laugh at, haha, he doesn't know what Facebook is.
Mm-hmm.
Create an advanced AI program that threatens the future of human existence? I ask, why would Tony want the rest of his supposed friends to be punished for his wrongs? Well,
He doesn't? In fact, he's trying to protect his so-called friends from dying because he wants to build an army that will protect the entire world and
Aren't
put
the
a shield
Sokovia
over it.
Accords, like, making them, like, terrorists if they don't register with the UN?
Yeah, they'll be forced to retire is the line in the film. It is like you either sign it or you are forced to retire. If you don't do either, you are an international war criminal.
Yeah, so Tony, who is going crazy right now because he's made one mistake and now he's constantly making other mistakes, sees
Like,
that
even then, he's not going crazy. He's just, like, so single-minded. He's like, God, he has, like, an immense weight of guilt on him from, like, killing this kid and all that other stuff in the beginning of the movie.
his pushing of the Sokovia Accords and trying to get everyone else there is like when you make one mistake and then, like, to make up for that one mistake, you make another mistake trying to make up for that first one, and you're just constantly in this loop of making bad mistakes where he just needs to, like, step aside.
The
for a
other
bit.
point of the movie is like he's so turned against Winter Soldier because he finds out that he kills his parents, and he's
Yeah,
like,
that's-
"Holy
that's-
shit!" Like, imagine you find out that like your best friend's best friend killed your parents, and you're like, "Man, I'm gonna take your ass down." And then your best
Yeah.
friend's like, "Nah, man, whoa, hear him out. He was like, under the influence of drugs at the time."
He was completely brainwashed too,
Mhm.
and that's kind of what Iron Man is in Civil War. I feel like is this guy who needs to take a step aside to get himself back into like the
He just
mindset.
needs a break, but he cannot catch a break because every time he tries to take a break, something bad happens.
Yeah,
Something goes wrong.
He's in
This
this
world is never at peace.
the way I'm seeing it is like he is constantly in this loop of just like one mistake. He needs a break to like let himself go from this one mistake, but then he gets pushed into another thing and makes a mistake. He gets pushed into another thing and another thing, and he keeps going throughout Civil War, and then his break comes when the group splits apart.
Mhm.
And then they split apart, and then they come back in Avengers Endgame or Avengers Infinity War, and he's had his break, and he understands everything and lets it all go, and then he's able to become the superhero again. He's able to become a good guy because he's had his break.
Mhm.
Like, he's not like none of this is ego driven.
Like
That's-
it is
that's
all
the-
just I want to protect the Earth. It is
This is-
very simple and laid out very simply. Like
It's-
that
it's
is his
very-
motivation. He's not a very complex character. He is very
he's-
like simple in his complexity. It is just I want to protect the Earth. I will do so by any means necessary.
He's got a very simple human, like he's got a very simple motivation, and he has very human mistakes that he makes along the way.
Because he is not an all-knowing god. He is just
Yeah.
a normal ass man with
That's-
some. He's a little smarter than the rest of us.
He's smart, but like his thing is like he is
Like
very
to
smart,
put it
but
in
he
D&D
still makes
terms, he
stupid-
has like a 20 in intelligence and like an 8 in wisdom. Like he is very smart, but he does not always see the result of his actions before he does them.
Oh, I can answer that. For one, Tony likes power. His company wields incredible control over the world's weapons trade. If the government controls the Avengers, Tony Stark is not the one who suffers most. It's someone like Captain America, whose only advantage is his superpowers, not his multinational corporation.
I mean, he also has, most of the U.S. military backing him, Shield, several other friends in high places. Like he's gotten around.
he like Captain America is Shield. Shield will do what Captain America tells him to do.
Pretty much, even though Shield doesn't exist at this point, technically, although it exists in space.
Like whatever remnants of Shield are out there, and whatever agents they have, and
Like,
anything
he
like
could
that,
definitely call Nick Fury and be like, "Yo, Nick, can I get a ride to, like, Petco or something?" And Nick will pull up in his car and be like, "Yo, bro, I got you."
I mean, it's not only just that. It's like almost
Like-
all of the Avengers listen to Captain America.
Like,
And
when
he
you look at
called-
it, literally all of the people that, like, follow Iron Man are, like, brand new to the franchise. Like, it's literally like, let's go get Spider-Man. He doesn't know anything about what's going on. Let's get Black Panther. He doesn't know anything about what's going on. And then they just kind of grab, like, a bunch of randos, and then the Cap people are all, like, the veterans. You got, like, Hawkeye and shit, and they're just like, "Bro, Iron Man's going crazy. We gotta stop him."
Yeah.
Tony has influence, intelligence, and money. His freedom can withstand governmental overreach.
No, it can't.
Like, if the government were to shut down his business or something, like, he can't just be like, "Oh, well, I guess I'll just build my business in another country." He is out.
Yeah, like the government.
At that point, if anybody places him on, like, an international crimes watch list, he's like, "Oh my god, I can't do anything now."
You can't like.
Like, imagine
Yeah.
having a military target on your back. They just nuke your house like they did in Iron Man 3. Like, he has
They-
people he needs to protect. He has Pepper, he has others.
Yeah, he is like his secret identity is known. He can't do anything with all of this company wealth if the government just shuts it down. He has a shit ton to lose. Dumb argument. Just another dumb argument.
Additionally, this is a way for Tony to shift the narrative from blaming him to a worldwide discussion on the negative effects superheroes have had on the world.
He's not trying to shift the narrative. He is out here going like, ah, yes, this is a real problem, guys. Like, remember this kid from the beginning of the film? Like, he is still torn up over that at, like, the halfway point of the movie. He is like, look, guys, this is what happens when we don't have a check on us, a leash on us. Like, this is the shit that goes down. And he's, like, scared of it, because he is scared of what he did in Avengers 2. Like, he almost ended the world, and he's worried that he might do it again.
Willing to collude with the government, to track down and apprehend his friends, with almost no remorse.
Here we are. Because you broke the law. Yeah. I didn't make you.
He simply trusts Ross to imprison the other Avengers, to actually take away their freedom. Once again, of course, he supposedly sees the error of his ways.
I mean, again, this is only after his, like, big stint with, you know, Winter Soldier killing his parents, and Cap being like, nah, man, I'm gonna protect my buddy, because he's more important to me than you are, sort of.
And Captain America is also going, or Iron Man is going off the notion that the Winter Soldier attacked the UN.
Mm-hmm.
But then it, like, hid the
and
error
he's like,
of his ways.
Cap, what are you doing? Like, he thinks,
Cap is...
you know, he's not just imprisoning them. Like, he goes down there to talk to them. He's like, guys, this is fucking dumb. We need to stop fighting.
And then afterwards, he sees the error of his ways in that everything he thought about Winter Soldier and, like, everything that's happening was wrong, and maybe that Captain America and these guys know what they're doing, so he lets them go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the entire character arc of Civil War. What? Okay, we got 1:20 left. Let's just get done with this. To some degree,
but only when it suits him. Tony is going to do this kind of thing again and again.
Apparently, learning something is it doesn't exist. It only suits him to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is the true villain of the MCU that the Avengers have to consistently overcome.
Not, you know, Thanos.
Yeah, no.
The guy who's been pulling all of the strings for every single event that's happened in, like, the MCU.
Yeah, no. Thanos, the guy who wants to eliminate half the universe, that's apparently okay. But the guy trying to protect Earth and making mistakes along the way is definitely the villain.
Mm-hmm. Like, I genuinely cannot comprehend this man.
This is, like... I feel like I have to go read a book or something and gain some brain cells back.
Psycho who does what he wants, without a thought to what the consequences will be for everyone else.
He literally thinks about nothing but the consequences. Look, he's showing Homecoming. He's like, oh my god, I need to protect this child that I've let into this world.
Goes on to provide Spider-Man with an overly powerful suit replete with a built-in AI, 576 different types of synthetic webbing, and a reconnaissance drone. And
yeah. Because he wants to protect this child that he's allowed into his world. Like, again, this is just him trying to protect people. Like, this kid was already doing superhero shit. He was probably gonna get hurt soon. And then Tony comes in, he's like, I won't let this kid get hurt. He reminds me too much of young me.
It's almost like he's thinking about the consequences.
Mm-hmm. It's like, God, I don't want this kid to have to go through what I went through.
Oh my god, let's put under a minute.
Just so he can say he made a lethal, glorified arachnid? By the time we get to Infinity War, Tony's weapons and technology have changed the entire world and the larger universe into a militarized continuum of constant war. And
do you know why they're in war? It's not constant war. The world is mostly at peace at this point. The only war that's happening is a war against an alien nation trying to get the Infinity Stones to wipe out half of the universe. That is literally half of infinity number of people.
Okay, I am going to reference Dragon Ball Z here.
Mm-hmm.
With the original point of Dragon Ball Z was supposed to end at the Cell Saga, and it was with Goku, like, staying dead because he's convinced that, like, because
people keep coming to fight him because he is strong. And then the Buu Saga happens, where somebody shows up and he's just like, oh, I'm dead. And then this guy shows up and he's like, haha, I want power to destroy the entire universe, and Goku's gone, so now I can do it.
Yeah, that's basically how this turns out, is like...
It's like, if Iron Man is gone, people are gonna rise in power and be like, haha, there's no more Iron Man, so I am free to do what I want.
The
Like, now we
entire
live in a post-Iron Man world, and literally the next thing that happens is that Mysterio and his corporation rise up and try to take over the world with Stark Tech.
yeah, it's not only that, it's that like the Infinity War happens with or without Tony Stark rising, and with or without the Avengers coming, and with or without all the militarized protection. It happens with or without it. The rise of the military protection is how they manage to somehow like stop Thanos.
Well, they stall him. I wouldn't say they stop him.
Well, yes, they have
They
a fighting
almost
chance.
succeed.
They almost succeed because of all of the weapons that they have.
And
even
again,
then,
the only reason that Thanos manages to do his thing is because Peter Quill is like a human being and has emotions.
yeah. So.
And so I ask you,
But
is this
nah,
the
it's
kind
Iron
of
Man's
man
fault.
you want to trust the health and security of the Earth with?
Yes.
Is this the kind of person you want your kids?
No,
Yes,
I actually
absolutely. I
someone
want
who-
this man to protect the Earth.
No, I want some dude with a receding hairline who can't understand basic Marvel concepts of story.
He can't even understand basic human concepts. He's like, yes, this man is not perfect. Therefore, he is the true villain of the MCU.
You know, you don't have to overthink the Marvel movies. They're very straightforward in what
They
they're trying
really-
to tell you.
Well, no, like, there is some nuance in there, which is why they're so good. Like, some of them, anyways. But, like,
there's a little
there are
bit of
very,
nuance.
very, very simple concepts that are explored with nuance.
Yeah,
It
you
is
can
not
be a
just
child.
bad guy
You can be
bad. Like, children enjoy these movies because they are, like, simplified to the point that children can enjoy them.
It's to see as a
Yeah, we
hero?
got-
I, for one, certainly hope not.
Oh my
This
God.
has been your friend, American Ben, bringing
American Ben. I don't want to hear the rest of this. All right. Well, that
know
was
what?
that
You know
was
what?
a tism and a half right there.
This guy reminds me of a thought I had on how to make money on YouTube, and it's literally just uploading the worst takes over and over again, and just getting a ton of hate watch, and just like capitalizing off of it.
Like, I don't know. Like,
but-
his ratio is like maybe 40% downvotes or whatever on this. So I
It
mean,
should
at
be
least
higher.
people agree, but they're like, he's got a 1.4K likes and 800 dislikes.
Yeah, it needs to be worse than that.
I mean, leave him a dislike, man. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
It-
But yeah, like, I don't understand how you can be this utterly dense and not understand anything about what you're talking about. I'm glad that we watched this video for our first one. This is such a good thing to talk about. Like, I enjoy talking about Iron Man because he's such a good character.
this is brain cell hurting.
Alright. Well, now is the time to look at, I guess, Black Widow. I guess I'll find some sort of thumbnail thing to look at while we talk about it. We can at least move to something more hopeful. Maybe.
I saw the trailers for Black Widow, and I got scared.
I haven't seen the trailers yet. I guess we can we just run the trailers in the background?
No, do not. We will get taken down instantly.
Alright, then I'll just look at an image.
Okay.
Here, just look at some Black Widow images, guys. Appreciate the boobs, I guess.
The views. Images.
They took out her cleavage. Yeah, it's fine. Here we go. Alright, have fun with that. Now we're going to talk about these leaks. So, as some of you may know, there is a Black Widow movie coming out eventually. It's been delayed forever. And I have found some possible leaks that have been floating around on like Reddit and 4chan, and they all seem fairly consistent with each other. So, we have decided that we want to talk about them and maybe discuss whether they will be good or bad. I have not seen the trailers. Joey has, so he can put in some information on those. So let's go into this. All right, you ready?
Okay. Describe what happens.
All right, I'm going to read word for word what the 4chan post is on this. Let me just skip to the part where he actually starts reviewing it. So the movie opens with Robert Downey Jr.'s voice over a time card setting up that it's right at the end of Civil War. He tells Natalia that she needs to run, because they're gonna come after her the hardest due to her past. She gets on a motorcycle and drives away from the Avengers facility, and then we get the Marvel logo. Our next scene is a flashback to young Natalia. She's talking with young Yelena, whoever that is. I think she's the new character that's gonna be the new Black Widow or something in, like, the future MCU movies. Like, she is Black Widow replacement, sort of, in a hallway. She's been asked to kill a diplomat or something, and she's unsure if she can do it. She tries, but can't bring herself to pull the trigger. She goes out into the hallway and cries. The woman leading the red room leads Yelena in and through an opaque glass door, and we see her shoot the man without a thought.
Okay, how
So
long
already,
is this?
this is, what, the leaks?
Yeah, like how long? Can you give a? Have you
Another
read this
several
already?
dozen paragraphs. Yeah, I've read the whole thing.
Can you just give like a brief summary of it?
No. I want you to go over scene by scene. So what do you
No,
think
no,
so
no,
far?
We do
We've
not
got,
have, we, do
we
not
already
have.
have. Oh, you don't have time?
No, I don't have time. Oh
Okay,
my god.
I apologize.
That last video took way too much out of me.
Okay, I'm sorry that you don't have time. I guess we could do the leaks next time. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay.
Is it SJW, like, look at how strong women is, man bad stuff?
For the most part, if this leak can be believed, it doesn't seem like it. It actually looks pretty good.
Okay.
Like, not the best, like, it's pretty average for a Marvel movie, but it's not like, you know, Captain Marvel bad.
God, Captain Marvel. I refuse to watch
It
that.
does have lots of glorification of Yelena, though, and apparently just from that first scene where she just comes in and, like, shoots a man without giving him a second thought, like, we already know that she is not gonna be that great. Like, it's basically having a villain as a character in the MCU. And there are rumors that maybe she's supposed to be one of the next, like, groups of villains or whatever. So that could be neat. I would love
So
to
you
see
mean-
her and Captain Marvel team up to try and take over the world. That would be great.
Yes. Turn Captain Marvel into a villain.
She already is. It's fine.
Yes. Yes.
Like, her overpoweredness, like, imagine, okay, she tries to, you know, protect the world, and by protecting the world, she's like, you know, you guys would be a lot better off if you just didn't have militaries, and she goes in and just, like, destroys the entire world's militaries, nuclear bombs, everything. Like, just wipes everybody's military power out, and is like, there, you'll be fine now, and then flies off into space. And the entire world is, like, reeling in crippling pain as, like, everybody tries to rebuild their militaries as fast as they can. War breaks out. World War III. It's crazy shit that we've never seen before.
That would be a Captain Marvel thing. Captain Marvel is
Like, she tries to do something good, and in doing so, she does something worse than Iron Man ever could have.
Yeah. No, it's.
But yeah, that's pretty much where I think they're gonna try to go with, like, Yelena, is that she's gonna be a villain, or, like, a backstabber, or whatever. It's fine.
Alright.
We'll do that next time. Thanks for coming to check out the stream, if you did. I don't know if we have any viewers or not. If you want to see more of this, you can tune in next week when we do this again. Have a good weekend, and goodbye.